TestNG. TestNG is something which helps you build test cases. Okay, Selenium is something which will interact with the browser. Okay, Selenium will never build the test cases for you. Alright, so you have to integrate the Selenium scripts with TestNG, which is another tool. It's a unit testing framework basically. Okay, and after integrating your scripts with TestNG, you move forward with Selenium scripts. Alright, so the first thing is you have to, hold on, this was what I opened yesterday. Yeah. You have to first install TestNG. TestNG is installed as a plugin inside Eclipse, right? So you have to search for a TestNG Eclipse on Google. Right. So this is Eclipse TestNG, and over here, if you go to install the plugin section over here, right, you will see to install TestNG, you have to, use this URL. Okay, this is the URL. All right, if I open this URL, I have got something like this in which all the versions of TestNG are mentioned. All right, I recommend people to install 7.1. It is a very stable version of TestNG. You click on this link and then you have come some XMLs and all. Ignore this. Just copy this link. Okay, I'll give this link on the chat to everyone as well. Hold on. Okay, I sent something else. I sent the exercises. So this is the link. Okay, so this is the link. I have just sent it to everyone. This is the link to install TestNG. Right. You have to go to Eclipse. You have to go to help install new software, and you have to paste this link. Hit the enter button of the keyboard. So it will load some things and then you'll see TestNG. You can select it and you can install it. Right. If you already have some other version of TestNG and you want to uninstall it and install this version, you can go to already installed link over here and select TestNG from here and you can uninstall it. Right. And click on this and click on uninstall. So and you can install 7.1.0. Okay, so 7.1.0 is the most stable version of TestNG. Now, once you have installed TestNG, you can go to Window, Show View, right? And you can go to Other, and under Java, you will see TestNG. If you see this, then that means TestNG is successfully installed. Your Eclipse will also restart. Okay, if you get minor error in between, don't worry, you can ignore that. Okay, sometimes it happens. Right. Now, you can create a new Java project. Okay, and I'll call it as TestNG features. Now let us see how TestNG helps us build the test cases. Okay, so this is the source folder. Under the source folder, I will create a new package known as, say, test cases. Right. Now in TestNG, you have got test annotations. Okay, I'll make a new class. Right. Suppose I have to go to Amazon and buy some product. So I make the buy product test. Right. Okay. Just a minute, guys. Just hold on. Yeah. So I have to uh, build this particular test case. So in TestNG, there is no main function. Please remember that there is no main function. Okay. There are annotations like you have at the rate test annotation. See, I'll make a test known as search product. This is known as an annotation. This means that this function is your test case. In this test, I am going to search a product on Amazon.com. All right. If I move the mouse over this error, I'll get the option to add the TestNG library in the project. So when you click on this, TestNG is added as a library in the project, which has got nothing but a few jar files which you might be needing. Okay, right. So you move the mouse over this error, you select import the test annotation. So this annotation is imported, and you know, now you can just print over here search product test. And when you run this as a TestNG test, then you see that it prints over here search product test. Right, so you can also run it like this, right click, run as TestNG test. Okay, so it will simply tell you everything, that the total test runs were 1, passes were 1, failures were 0, and skips were 0. So there is just one test case which has executed. So similarly, you can make another test function by product or select product test, in which you can select the product, and you can have another test case in which you can check out. So okay, so out here, when you run this, you see that it prints check out, search product, and select product. Now the order is not same. Checkout is printing first. You wanted the order to be like first this test should execute, then this test, and then this particular test. Okay, but the order is like, there are total test runs are 3, but the order is not the one which we were expecting. Don't think that the tests will execute from top to bottom. It's not going to happen like that. Okay, TestNG has got its own mechanism in which it executes the test in a Java file. So, but you can order them, you can set them, give them a priority. You can say that this test has got a priority 1, has priority 2, So now if you run these tests, you see that search product, select product, checkout. The order, it remains the same. So TestNG has got no main function. If we have to write the Selenium code, we write inside these test functions. Okay, right. Say, for example, let me just take the new class known as, uh, we did that exercise, small exercise over here, in which we took the Rediff example, and yeah, this one. Yeah, this is the small example wherein, if I am running this piece of code, then hold on, or on the day 8, it will be the full one. Hold on. Yeah, if I run this code, it will log in into Rediff and add the product, right? We were doing this thing, right? Okay, so there is some exception out here. Just a minute. What happened? Just a minute. This looks good. The same example was running out here. Just a minute. Why is it opening 2 times? Okay. Just hold on. I think some jar file issue is there. Just hold on. I'll go to Java build path, and first of all, I think some jar issue is there. You remove all the jars and you add the ones which you want to. Run this code. Yeah, this was a jars issue. So you see that what this program does is that it goes to the website and it should select the portfolio, right? And it throws a Java exception that, okay, the portfolio which I'm selecting is March 2021. I think that is not present over here. No, that is not present. So I'll select anyone. I'll select this NK1. Okay, so This is the thing. So let us convert this simple program into a test, and we will add modifications and a lot of things inside it, right? So nk1, right? So you see that it selects the date and finishes. So the element is added over here. Okay, I'm going to delete this temporarily. Right, so I'll just copy this file into our into our new project, which is TestNG features, and I'll add the jar files under lib and the other jars as well, and I'll just make a package known as Redif, in which I'll paste this file. Right, now this has got a main function. We will remove the main function. We'll put a test annotation at the rate test, public void Redif stock add. Okay, so you will have to import this test annotation. Right, now if you run this code, output will still be the same. Okay, if I run this, okay, unresolved compilation issues. Hold on. Okay, so add throws. Right, so if you run this code, output will still be the same, but it's now a test case, and in the end you will see that total test runs are these. Okay, now how do you introduce validations in this test case? How do you fail the test case? So I'm going to talk about these things now. You see that it says that passes are 1 and failures are 0. Okay, now suppose I am going to this URL. Okay, and I want to say after going to this URL, I want to verify the title of the web page. Okay, so this is the URL. If I see the title of the web page, then the title is, this is the title. This is the expected title, right? So I can keep this in a variable, say expected title. Right, and you can get the actual title from command driver dot get title. Now if both of them are not equal, I would want to report a failure. Right, so generally what is there in testing when we do automation or even when we test manually? So you have some value on the web page which you want to compare to the value which is there in the test data or in the expected uh, data, right? Expected test data. So you have to compare both the values, right? So for that, what we do is that we use assertions. There is a class known as assert, and you can write assert dot assert equals command. Right, make sure that the assert class is imported from org.testng package, not JUnit, not from somewhere else. All right, so you can put the actual value first. It asks you to put the actual title and then the expected. If they both of them they don't match, the test will fail. In this case it's matching. Now suppose what I do, I change my expected title a little bit, and if I run the code, you see that it will fail the test case. And in the failure you will see expected this but was found this. Right, there is a small tab over here, results of running the class. If you click on this, you will see a tabular format as well. In this you can see the exception happening. Right, and moreover, if you right click on the project and refresh the project, you will see a test output folder in which the default HTML reports are present for TestNG. Okay, if you open this HTML report, these are the default HTML reports of TestNG. These are not very user friendly, not very good in UI reports. We'll do better reports than these. The default reports of TestNG aren't good. Okay, so this is the test case on the left side, Rediff stock add, and it's just giving the exception trace, which obviously doesn't look good in a report. Okay, so you cannot just go and use these simple reports. You will have to build your own reports. All right, now to build the own reports, we look at that later on. Right, now this is assertion. Assert equals two values. Sometimes you are very sure that the test has itself failed. Right, for example, you get a 404 error over here. The web page itself is not loading, or you get 400 internal server error. Right, and you have to deliberately fail the test case. You know that something has horribly gone wrong. So you can do that. You can simply give the command assert dot fail as well with some message. So whatever message you write over here will come up in the reports. Okay, so when you run this code, you see it is saying failures 1, and over here you will see some message. Right, okay, now let me just create a new class known as Java Assertions. Right, okay, I accidentally created main function. I'll make the annotation at the rate test public void assertions. Right, and suppose I use any command. Okay, I'm writing over here a, then I write assert equals, I compare two values. Okay, I have some val1 which I have to compare with another value val1. If both of them are equal, then assertion will pass. and I'll write over here B. So this assertion will pass, and if you run this code, it will print A and B in the output. But however, if both of them are not equal, I'm comparing val1 with val2. In this case, assertion error will come up. A will be printed, but B will not be printed because the line on which assertion fails, the program stops on that particular line. Okay, the program will stop on that particular line. So what we need that the program should not be stopping on this line, right? Sometimes you have got failures which are, you can say, which are not critical failures. Okay, sometimes failures are there, but those failures are not critical failures. So you don't want to stop the program, you want to report them, but again at the same time you want to carry on, right? So how do you achieve this? So for this we use something known as soft assertions. Okay, so in this Rediff package I'll make a new class known as soft assert, soft assertions. All right, so I'll write over here at the rate test public void soft assert example. Fine. And there is a class known as soft assert in TestNG. You create the object of soft assert. Okay, and then you write over here soft assert dot assert equals a. You compare these two values. So these two are equal, then that is fine. But if you're comparing A with B, this is going to fail. If you run this test shows pass. No failure is reported. Alright, so soft assert, you have to be little careful. You can do as many comparisons as you want. I'm comparing A with B, then A with C, A with A, and A with D, and in between I'll write over here a soft assert dot fail. I can put some message over here. So soft assert is like a tag. It will keep on collecting the errors. So this is an error, this is a failure, this is also a failure, this is also a failure, this is also a failure, this is a pass. So soft assert will keep on collecting all the failures in a bag, and when in the end you write soft assert dot assert all, it will report all the errors. This line is mandatory. Okay, so when you run this, see that it says failures 1, and if you look at this, see it is reporting all the failures out here. Fine. Okay, so this soft assert is very useful. Okay, because at times, you don't want to stop the script. Instead of that, you want to, carry on, and you can report multiple failures as well using this. Okay, assert class is something which will simply stop the flow. All right. Now, this was about building a simple test case, putting some validation inside it. Right. Sometimes you have, for example, you have a test like this on login test, simple one, and I make the test annotation at the rate test public void do login. So sometimes you have this test case, say this is the login test, and you have the written the logic to log in inside this particular test case. Right. Now, at times, you have to run this test multiple times with different sets of data. Okay, so this is the requirement that you have to run a single test multiple times with different sets of data. So how do you do that? All right, fine. So to do that, we have got another annotation known as at the rate data provider. So what this annotation does, basically what we do with this annotation is that we keep the data in a two-dimensional object array. Okay, two-dimensional object array has got some rows and some columns. All right, the number of rows are equal to number of times you want to run the test, and the number of columns are equal to number of test parameters you are having. For example, a username. Okay, then you have got password. Okay, you have got email ID, maybe you have phone number. So the number of parameters are equal to the number of columns. Okay, number of parameters are equal to the number of columns in the two-dimensional array. Right, so you can keep the data for the first test case over here in the first row, second test case data in the second row, third test case data over here. So you can say put some dummy values. I can say user in password p1. Okay, then similarly user u2 and password p2. So you can arrange the data in this two-dimensional object array. And that's what we do in TestNG with this data provider. Okay, this data provider returns you a two-dimensional object array. Okay, this data provider returns you a two-dimensional object array, and you can build an object array. Say I'll build the object array with say 3 rows. That means I want to run the test 3 times, and 2 columns. That means there are 2 parameters in every run. So you can fill up the values, say data 0, 0. Is u1, 0, 1 is p1, 1, 0 and 1, 1 are u2, p2. and 20 and 21 is U3P3. So you return the data. All right. So this is the data provider. It returns the data in this two-dimensional array. And this is the first step which you have to do in order to run this particular test 3 times or multiple times. So first this test has to be executed with this set of data, then this, and then this. So everything is inbuilt. You don't need to worry. Okay, you just have to map this test with the data provider. You have to tell the test that the data provider of this test case is get data. And you have to specify two input parameters over here. Okay, you have to specify the username and the password. That's it. Okay, TestNG, when it runs the test case, all right, hold on, I'll just print both of these, username plus password. So when it runs the test case, it sees that the data provider is this particular data provider. It goes to the data provider and understands it has to run the test 3 times. And there are two input parameters, username and password. So first it sends this, executes with this particular set of data, then with this, then with this. When it is executing with this set of data, it will pass U1 into username and P1 into password automatically. If we had a third or the fourth parameter in the data, then we would have to add it over here and it would have been passed inside it automatically. So if I just run this, you see that it says that total test runs are 3. It executes the test case 3 times. Fine. Okay. Did I record this? Yes. Okay. So it's very easy. Everything is pre-built. All right. And we use these TestNG features in Cucumber. Okay. There are many features in Cucumber, okay, which you need to study, understand. Okay, I will take those features with you along with the features of TestNG when we study Cucumber. So right now, this much of TestNG is more than enough. You should know that it basically builds the test cases, and you can have assertions inside it. You can have soft assertions. Okay, wherein you can report multiple failures, and then you can have this data provider as well. There are other annotations in TestNG, some other features as well, which I will teach you along with Cucumber. Okay, now the next thing which you need to understand is reporting. Okay, how to generate good reports. Because if you have a test case like this, so you would want that the report for this test case should be generated, an HTML report or something. For that, we will be studying about extent reports. Okay, so there is a website for extent reports. So this extent reports are good reports, and it is these reports are not free. These are paid. There is a free version available. We will look at the free version. Okay, it is a very exhaustive and elaborate report, something like this, which helps you, with the if the number of test cases they increase, then it helps you a lot. All right, I'll cover test ng and extent reporting tomorrow. Okay, I have a little urgent call today, office call. All right, I am stopping a little bit early. right? But whatever I have taught you in